Hello and welcome to video number 15. So today's Mother's Day, so I wanted to start the video by saying Happy Mother's Day to all the moms around the world. I got back from hanging out with my mom and my grandma, and it was just a really good time. We went to go get some food, some drinks, and just spend quality time together. So very grateful that I was raised by not only my mom, but also both of my grandmothers. If you know a little bit about me and my upbringing, you know that I lived in a household with my dad, my mom, both of my brothers, and two Colombian abuelas. So it was a lot, to say the least. But very grateful for that experience, and I wouldn't have changed it for anything in the world. So for today's video, I wanted to give a little bit of money advice. And the reason why I thought about this video is because there is a lot going on right now in the world. And I have gotten myself to a place where I'm like, you know what? I have to write things down that I want to share, that I find helpful personally. So again, I always talk about when I do this YouTube channel, and when I created this YouTube channel, it wasn't necessarily to have people do exactly what I do, or like follow steps 1 through 5 and this is how you'll get to financial freedom. Follow steps 1 through 5 and this is how you become a millionaire. Follow steps 1 through 5, and like, let's be real, we're all just trying to make it. And a lot of times when I watch videos like that, I'm like, all right, girl, like I can't do that. Like, there's no way. Like, that sounds great and all, but give me actual, like, feasible things that feel like I can actually accomplish. And so these are some of the things that I have personally done, and I feel like is doable. Okay. It might take some effort. It might take some sacrifice. It might take you, not buying as much, not splurging as much, not doing all the Amazon orders and all the Target runs. And I'm saying this, and I know that I do some of this too, so I've had to self-analyze and be like, all right, you don't need that. Stop. Clear your cart. Delete. Don't go to Target. You don't need anything else. And so I'm telling you all this because this is almost like a self-reflection and self-analysis and things that I've actually personally done that have been super helpful. And I hope that at least one person watching this video finds at least one of these things helpful and can manage to get themselves to a better place financially. That is really the purpose of this video. So with that being said, I'm starting with number 1. And so number 1 is build an emergency fund. And usually an emergency fund is between 3 to 6 months of living expenses. So building your emergency fund, what does that look like? That means that you, out of every paycheck that you get, you are taking a part of that money and you are putting it aside for this emergency fund. Now, I understand that sometimes things are tight. And so trust me when I tell you paycheck to paycheck, I get it. And we've all been there. And so if that's your current situation, then I'm not even judging you for it. You don't have that extra income to put aside. But what I can say and what I will say is that there are other ways to get additional income. And so one of the things that I'll talk about is something that I tried out, and I tried it out this weekend, and I didn't really even tell anybody. I was just like, you know what, let me see like how this goes. And I downloaded the Shipped app. And so the Shipped app is essentially you are buying stuff for other people and dropping it off. It could be groceries. It could be, I don't know. It's mainly groceries, I think. But there's a way to always make additional income. And even for someone who I feel pretty good with my current income, and I definitely live below my means, and that's something else that I'll talk about. But I just wanted to try it out because I was like, okay, if I was someone that was living paycheck to paycheck, what are some options? Like, what are things that I can do? And so some of these other things that are a little bit more time consuming, and it takes extra effort. Things like doing Shipt, Instacart, Lyft, Uber Eats, DoorDash, all of these things. I'm not saying that this is ideal, but I'm saying that if you don't have money right now to put aside for an emergency fund, it is an okay idea to consider taking the next 6 months to a year to do a side hustle like that, or a side job like that, and take that income to build your emergency fund, because that is number one. That is a number one thing that will make you feel a lot more financially stable and financially secure is if you have money set aside for an emergency. So again, I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm not saying you have to get a side job, but if you don't have money extra at the end of the day when you pay all of your living expenses, if you don't have any money extra to create an emergency fund, then I would say consider increasing your income streams. Okay. So that's number one. Second one is try to keep some of your money in a high yield savings account. High yield savings accounts are usually done. You can either do it through your bank, you can ask about it. There's usually some options, or there's a lot of online bankings right now that are actually offering like a 4% or even a 5%. So two of the ones that I've personally used is SoFi and Varo. So that's SoFi, SoFi, and then Varo is Varo. And so there are specific requirements for it. Like you have to have a certain amount of direct deposit going into it. But once you get everything set up, it's going to do it automatically. And that high yield savings account is going to get either a 4% or a 5% money back on the total amount that you have in there. Okay, so 4% or 5% versus a regular savings account is crazy. Usually a regular savings account is giving you back maybe a 0.01%. And so if you do the math, you're going to end up making a little bit more money on the money that you have kind of like sitting in a savings account. So that is number 2. So keep your money in a high yield savings account. Number 3, okay, this one I know is so hard and people hate to talk about debt, but we got to talk about it, okay? So pay down anything that you have right now, any debt that you have right now that have really high interest rates. You have to try to pay them off as fast as possible, okay? That is the only way you're going to feel like you're going to get to a financially stable place in your life, okay? So another thing I will say is that I actually at one point had a couple of credit cards maxed out, and I ended up calling the different credit lines and negotiating for them to bring down my APR, so my interest rate, down to a 0%. And once you do that, you can negotiate with them again and get on some type of monthly payment plan. And so that way you're actually, even though you're having to now make a monthly payment for your debt, you're also not getting taxed that additional interest, okay? So I would personally say if you can, call the different credit lines, try to negotiate, try to get your try to get it down to a 0 APR and pay it off as fast as possible. Okay, so that's number 3. Next up, of course, I'm going to tell you all, start investing. Start investing in stocks or ETFs or any type of dividend paying stock. And so I've talked a lot about this in my previous videos. If you haven't watched any of them, you can check some of those out. Most of my videos are related to stocks because it's something that I've been getting into a lot. And so I would recommend opening up a brokerage account and finding stocks that you can purchase and watch your money grow. There's more to come on that. I'm sure if you're new to stocks, you have a lot of questions. Watch some of my previous videos. I do a couple of stock highlights, ones that you should put on your watch list. And again, I am not a financial advisor, so I can't tell you what to buy or sell, but I can tell you what I'm personally buying, and then you can do with that information whatever you would like. Okay, and then the last thing that I'll mention, which is a little bit more advanced, is obviously options trading. Again, I like to mention this because it's not something that I see myself going on and teaching per se. Like, you know, there's so many people on YouTube right now who are options traders, who have their own Discord, who have their own classes and sell their classes and sell their courses and all this stuff. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. That's not like what I dream to do. I'm just being honest. That's not what I dream to do. I can definitely share knowledge and share some of the things that I'm doing, but I don't necessarily envision myself doing that where you're, you know, sharing your screen and you're showing people, because I just don't think that you learn as much that way, because at that point it's like people are relying on you to make a trade and then they're doing the same exact trade, so they're essentially just copying your trade and putting it in. And then it also boils down to like, okay, what if you made not the best trade and now you have a group of, I don't know, however many people who are watching your screen and probably did the same trade, now they're losing money. So I don't like playing with people's money like that. But I do like to encourage people to learn, okay? Because it is a skill set that you can use for the rest of your life. And so I'll end this video by talking a little bit about risk, because that is usually what keeps people from learning about stocks and from learning about trading. Is there is a risk associated with it. There is the risk that you will lose money. But I'm gonna be honest with you. You're gonna die. Oh my God, I just said that. You're gonna die, okay? Look, I messed up my whole thing because I'm over here cracking jokes. But you're gonna die. So what does it matter? Like, honestly, that's how I look at it. I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, we're all not eternal. So even if I risk some money and I lose some money, it's okay. But what if I actually learn the skill and I become highly profitable, and then I can take the same skills that I learned and pass it on to my future generation, and I can pass it off to someone else? And so I think it's worth the risk. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I talk about it. And that's why I share what I'm doing personally, so that you can just be like, okay, well, this girl's doing it. Maybe I can do it too. And so that's really my only goal with these videos. Again, I might change my mind later on. You never know. But what I'm saying is, I just think that trading and investing and your finances is such a personal thing. It's such a personal thing. Like, you are the only person that knows what you've been through financially. No matter how much you share, you're the only person that knows. So when it comes to your finances and when it comes to being financially stable, being financially secure, and also creating generational wealth, it really starts with you and you having a conversation with yourself about, willing to risk and try and learn and fail and then succeed and then maybe fail again. And then, it's a balance of all of these things. But I really truly believe that at the end of the day, it is a skill set that is worth having, that is worth learning, and that you will eventually be able to pass on to future generations. So with that being said, I'm going to end the video here. But if you haven't watched my previous videos, I do talk and highlight some stocks that I have been personally buying shares of, trading options with. And so I encourage you to go check those out. And of course, if you like videos like this, go ahead and subscribe. Peace.